Hey, it's Nicole from outerinnerspace, and this video is geared towards Aries energy and extrasensory perception, so how ESP might manifest for Aries energy. You can watch this for any Aries placements you might have, for first house energy, or wherever Aries is placed in your natal chart. We're made up of all the zodiac energies in our natal chart, so it is worthwhile if you've got time checking out the whole series, because it's going to paint a fuller picture about how ESP can manifest for you. And I think that everybody has extrasensory perception. It's just a level of attunement that is heightened in other people, but it's definitely a skill that can be honed to enhance yours, because you're likely experiencing it without realizing that that's extrasensory perception. So it's not for an exclusive group of mystics or anything like that. We are all equal in that measure. So for Aries energy, ESP, in my eyes, manifests through the physical body and physical sensations, and also field awareness. So when you think of Aries energy and first house energy, we are talking about being incarnate here on earth, and as our souls we manifest through the body. And so an attunement to the physical body and physical sensations is the starting point of ESP in my eyes, but especially for Aries energy, because when we are young or as we go through life and we have these experiences that can be seen as traumatic or problematic to our authentic frequency, and we don't know how to process them, these experiences get stored in the body as energy that then is cased over in a way so that when we are at a higher level of consciousness and we can process that information and we have more of an understanding of why that situation occurred for us, we can then clear it. But until we have that awareness or the intent to clear it, that energy is stuck in the body, and it creates kind of like a filter through which we see the world. And I talk about this more in the ESP notes, which I'll put a link to below, but it's worth reading the freeze section I did of Body as an Antenna, because there's an example there of how when we don't work on clearing any stored energy in the body, then we use it as like a perceptual filter, and things that we think are intuitions or messages or readings of energy can be distorted if we haven't tended to regular energetic clearing. So with Aries energy and with ESP, making conscious effort to tune into the body sensations, whether that's like the tension that you hold in your hips because of emotional experiences that happened when you were young around the sacral chakra, which is like our most intimate section of our body where we process emotions. If you notice that in certain situations, it's your body telling you like, hey, go here, there's stuff here that needs to be cleared, and when we clear that, then we're going to be able to perceive this situation with more clarity, and we'll have more data to access from it, and we'll be able to see why this is meaningful for you and why this person might be acting in this way. And so doing things like body work and breath work, for the first part, I would say being in your own energy in like a shavasana or any kind of seated pose where you can just feel into sensations. Like even now, if you take a deep breath and feel if you have tension or blockages or any numbness in your torso, that would indicate that there's a block there somewhere. And so applying breath and attention there, and then seeing like what kind of impressions you might get, like a holographic scene that surrounds you, or a vision of an object, or a glimpse of a person, and that would be a way to access the body and ESP connection to a story that has been stored, if that makes sense. So regular attuning to this, and not even really needing to go deep into the story, but just feeling that sensation in the body and relaxing that section. Especially I've noticed that when you go to what you intuitively sense to the opposite area of the body can help open that blockage. So say you feel a tension in the right torso, like around your armpit, for example. To open that blockage, you could go to the left hip and put your attention there, and then notice the reaction of that opposite. So just doing this, and like I said, not necessarily going deep into the story, like certainly noticing any impressions which come up or any feelings or anything like that, but just noticing the sensations in the body and how you can start to dissolve it can really help with removing that as a filter to your perception, if that makes sense. It just clears the energy, and when you start to do that regularly to all the different parts of your body that you might feel this, and it's natural that new ones would come up and new ones get activated by certain triggers, that kind of thing, because it's really like the minutiae. You know, you can start to feel that your field starts to refine because you're not carrying these patterns, because what's happening is like these stories repeated again and again creates these little energetic point A to B, B to C, C to D, D to A, and then it creates this circuit. And that is what happens when we repeat these patterns. And often these patterns stem from when we're quite young and too young to process what's actually going on, so we store them for later when we can have more consciousness to figure them out. So alongside with that as well is like doing this in movement. So not just being still, that's definitely a really important way to do this, because you're kind of keeping the energy contained to explore it in your field, you know, your yoga space or whatever it may be for you. But also doing this kind of exploration with movement, because of the Mars energy for Aries, is going to be really beneficial as well. So doing yoga or dance, and feeling the opening of these areas and just letting thought take a back seat, but letting sensation be predominant and energy movement be predominant, that's really going to help change the structure of those blockages. And then in time it'll diffuse them, and in time you'll understand why they're there, and then you'll be able to, you know, you bring your energy refines, and then the situations don't repeat as much because you're not carrying it with you, because everything is a reflection. And just on that, with Aries energy and Libra being the opposite sign, this is kind of a similar thing where other people will mirror to you what's going on in your field. So if you're going to places that aren't really in alignment, or you're maintaining relationships that aren't really in alignment, and you kind of rocking up and, you know, saying one thing about it but feeling another way about it, that's all in your field. And the way other people react, that Libra energy, you know, it's going to trigger you in one way, or at least present some kind of data that then is going to translate into your own field and likely into your own body through sensations, to give you information about whether this is working for you or whether it's not. So with Aries energy and the Mars energy, that might create a response, like a reaction. But if you can take that data and that sensation with you and get into your own energy and explore it a little bit, you'll see the pattern and just create space and a curiosity around it. When you sort of start to see that, you can work out where the root is, or at least where the sensation is in your body, apply the breath, open the energy, and then you'll change the energy enough so that you either don't go back into that situation, or when you do, you present as a completely different energy because your whole field has changed from that exploration. So that's kind of how it works. And then when your body's refined like that, you're either attracted to situations, or you attract situations which are more in alignment with your true frequency, or the other person will kind of see that you're more in alignment, and then they'll present themselves in a different way, and then the dynamic is more conducive to good feelings because you're in alignment. So another thing for Aries energy and refining the field is to do body work. So there are many different ways that this could be approached. On a personal self-administrative level, doing things like guided meditations where you are doing body scans or auric cleanses can be so beneficial. There's a really wonderful YouTube channel by Pura Rasa, and she does such great meditations that really help you hone in onto specific areas and open them and release them. And really, in this work, it is just about the attention you put there. So you might not feel immediate results, but the idea is that you just put your attention to these parts of the body, and that is enough to start diffusing any potential blockages. Doing things like self-massage, or even just intuitively feeling areas of the body where you might perceive that there's numbness, or that needs attention, and putting your hands there and making that connection. It kind of closes a circuit energetically, and then apply breath. So it doesn't necessarily matter if you feel that your breath doesn't go there. Again, it is about the attention that you are placing on those areas of the body, because where attention goes, energy flows. And this is stuff that you can do on your own, but further than that is things like getting body work done. So Reiki can be really helpful in cleansing the field, as well as massage is going to be really wonderful. Anything that takes care of the body in a loving way. So with like remedial massage, when you're in that experience of getting the massage, just feeling the sensations of the masseuse, like moving the energy around and diffusing the blockages and breathing into the section, just make it a really meditative practice where you are just focusing on breath in those areas of the body. And what's just as important though as the actual practice of getting the body work done is how you are with yourself directly afterwards. So you'll notice, like, if you have some kind of body work like this done, and then after in your own energy, just feeling the shifts, and it'll be really subtle, but it's because your field has been adjusted. And then when you do take this precious time right after, like it can be half an hour, ideally an hour, just in your own energy still, like not rushing on to the next task, like consider it a combined activity. Then when you are noticing the differences is kind of when you can anchor the change. So just being in your own space and feeling the difference. And it doesn't have to be such a focused thing, but it's more of like, again, like a body awareness kind of practice where you are feeling the energetic shifts. Another thing as well for Aries energy is head massage, because Aries rules the head as well. So you can even learn that the acupressure points yourself and pressing on these zones, and then noticing how your thoughts change, the energy around your mind changes, that kind of thing is a really good practice to get into in relieving blocks and also just tending to any stuck patterns. And being present to what kind of comes up for you is a really good way to notice how your body is actually transmitting information. And that kind of regular self-care can work wonders in being able to then receive messages and have a more accurate perception of the data that's coming in from others or from the environment that can help you with your own journey. And with this ESP thing, one thing I've kind of come to realize is that the impressions that you receive, however you receive them, they're kind of just for you. When explaining those energy blockages in the body and also your field itself contains stories, which if you read the ESP notes, you'll learn more about that. But if you're trying to present a feeling or one of these intuitions to someone else, all those filters, your body, the blocks within the body, the stories in your field, then have to translate through someone else's field and through someone else's filters to land on them. And so that is a lot of degrees of separation in order to convey a message, which can lead you to feel like your extrasensory perception can't be validated, because it kind of can't be. It's just for you. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is what I've learned is that these sensations and these feelings and these impressions that you receive are just for you, and they are just for your journey and for you to navigate your journey in a way that's true for you. So don't look for other people to validate those experiences for you, because it really does get lost in translation because the energy is so subtle. So it's also worth having a look at the Aries chart ruler video that I did, and I'll link at the end of this video. In hindsight, I realized that it could be seen for all Aries energy, not just having Mars as the chart ruler, but it's definitely worth watching because it does give a bit more information about this, but from a different kind of angle. So I'll link that below. So I'm just going to leave this here, Aries, and I hope that you found some value in this, and I wish you well.